Hello and welcome to the Penalty Box Perspective podcast. My name's Nathaniel and I'm joined yet again by my good friend Matt. How are you doing today?
Very well, Nathaniel. Yeah, a bit better than you, I think. Are you a little bit under the weather?
Another bug yet again. I'm sure I'll be alright. Always feeling well enough to talk some hockey. And we got a mini podcast today and a subject entirely created by you, so I'll let you lead it in.
Yeah, I just thought we'd have a bit of fun today. Obviously, we're getting to the very serious part of the season. Was thinking we're probably going to be getting into some kind of awards territory kind of soon. So I thought I'd pose the idea of let's build our perfect player. So we've got 9 categories. We're going to do it in a snake draft style. Now, the only rules is that it has to be a current NHL player. So we can't just put Wayne Gretzky in every category. And also we can't have any crossover, so we can't have any of the same players. So if I take one that's on Nathaniel's list, he can't use that one, and vice versa. So, do you want me to? I'll tell you what. I'll start us off, and then you get the first.
Yeah.
You get the first double pick. So the first category is skating. Now I am going to take. For my skater, I am going to take Quinn Hughes. I think
Wow.
I think he is a phenomenal skater. I think that he quite often gets a little bit overlooked on his skating. I think because he does occasionally fall down, but I think that is a product of how good he is on his edges. I mean, he skates like a figure skater does. He's honestly phenomenal, and his change of direction, his speed. I think he's absolutely unreal. And I didn't know if he was going to be somewhere in your list with him playing for Minnesota, so I thought I'd snag him early.
Yeah, no, he was definitely on my list. Potential in several categories. He was going to be one of my, I guess, best backups. I was hoping you wouldn't pick him straight out the bat, but obviously that opens the door for me to maybe establish some of my first up picks, I guess. But no, I agree. Quinn Hughes skating, although you could say he does fall over quite a bit. So,
Every
but that's
every
just
now and then, it's the price to pay for an A+ skater.
yeah, that's true. Right, so I guess it's my pick then in skating.
Hmm.
Um, this one's a tricky choice because this player can go in every single category for the most part. Um, and where do you put him really? But the best skater, I'd argue, in the entire league is Connor McDavid, and so that's where I want to go. He's the fastest. He's I don't know. He's the best player in the world, so I think best skater as well.
Yeah, he is. He is a really difficult one to pick in any category. I think because he could go in so many of these. So yeah, I'm in complete agreement with you. I mean, I've got no problems with you taking him as in skating. I think you could take him in about 4 or 5 different categories here, but yeah, got no issues there. He is the best player in the world for me by like quite a distance. For me, I don't think there's. We could have the conversation about McKinnon, but I don't think it's that close.
That's interesting because McKinnon was going to be my backup for skating.
Mm.
Um, Obviously, I've got him in other categories. You may see him there, you may not. But yeah, if you took McDavid straight off, it would have been McKinnon for me in second. So I mean, you went wild at Quinn Hughes. I can't argue with that, though. To be fair.
No. So you are up next in the second category, which is hands. Who's got the silky mitts for
Hands.
you, Nathaniel?
Maybe not much anymore. He's not as prominent anymore, but he's still a current NHL player. I'm gonna go Patrick Kane.
Oh, you bastard. That was yeah, that's a hell of a pick. That was where I was going to go with that. And I will caveat this by saying they have to be a current NHL player. It doesn't have to be the player they are right now. That being said, I still think Patrick Kane has some unbelievable hands. So yeah, I've got no issues with you taking Kane there, other than the fact I would have quite liked to have taken him myself. Man, Nathaniel just smacked the shit out of me. Oh, as if he's brought that into the soundboard. Oh, wow. Terrific.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't pick Kane purely because I knew he'd get the Blackhawk fanboy out in you, like foaming at the mouth. I do think he's got some silky, silky hands. Um, it's kind of, I guess, what he's known for, really, for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got no problems, no problems there. I think it's yeah, he's been elite with his hands his entire career. I mean, he's someone who's always been like quick, but not the fastest in the league. Like he's got a good shot, but probably not the best in the league. But his hands have always been right up there. It's one of the reasons why he's a nightmare on the shootout. It's as on a breakaway, any sort of situation where he's keeping the puck in close and and using his hands, he is absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, that's a great pick.
Yeah. And then that leads you onto your hands selection.
Yeah. So yeah, this is a little bit of a tricky one because there's plenty of options, but guys who I would quite like in other areas. So I've got the next two picks. So for my hands, I am gonna take Macklin Celebrini.
Ooh, okay.
Um, Now, I think obviously we've only got the 2 year sample size, but I think his handwork is phenomenal. I think that his puck retention, his ability on the puck, how he moves and travels with it, I think is right up there. I think that's been reflected massively in his obviously in his stats this year. Obviously in how well the San Jose Sharks have done. I think better than obviously expected. I know that's probably a different conversation for another day, but like, what would this Sharks team be without Celebrini? They would be a rough watch, for
Yeah.
me. But I would take Celebrini in the hands department. I don't know if you've got any kind of further thoughts on that at all.
Well, I just think the San Jose Sharks are in good hands with Mac and Celebrini. So it
Why
kind
is
of
this? Why is this
because
starting already? all I ask, all I ask is just we've not even hit the 10-minute mark yet, man. Come on, give me like 10 minutes to at least warm up a bit before you start coming at me with that shit. Yeah, okay, okay. Can I move on to my next pick now, or have you got anything else loaded in the chamber?
shoot your shot.
Well, shooting my shot. The next category is shooting, or who has the best shot. Now, this is probably going to come as absolutely no surprise for you as to who I'm going to take here. I'm going to take Connor Bedard. Why would I not? His shot is generational. His release, his ability to change the direction of his shot, and again, like the power, it's all there. There was another player who I think was running quite close on this, who I thought about taking, but you know me. Any opportunity I've got to revel in the skill of Connor Bedard, I absolutely will. I think he will be over his career. I think he will have multiple 50 goal seasons. That is a bit of a bold call, but I think when all is said and done, I think he will
We'll
have at
check receipts
least
on that.
two. Yeah, yeah, we can come back to this in 10 years' time, and see how we've got on. But I think that he will be an elite scorer in this league. I think he is a future Richard winner. Um, yeah, I think he's just absolutely unbelievable. As soon as he has a bit more talent around him, so he's not having to only create everything and score everything himself. Um, as soon as he's got some additional players that can actually feed him the puck, and that opens up more opportunities for him to shoot, Yeah, I think he's going to absolutely crush it. So yeah, that was a no-brainer pick for me.
Yeah. And I had a feeling you'd go for him at shot. But when I lined up that drop earlier, I was kind of expecting I could end up playing it for Bedard. But when I saw how the snake was going to form and you were going to take the first pick at shot, I thought, you know what, you're going to get Bedard. But what that does is it leaves me to select the top scorer of all time as the best shot. I would
You take,
say the best, yeah, Alex Ovechkin.
yeah,
The If I had first shot at shot, I do think Connor Bedard has the best technical ability as it sort of stands right now in terms of the best skill in that element. But I think you can't really beat an argument of the fact he scored the most goals, so his shooting must be all right.
yeah. That's a solid argument, and I'm not really gonna oppose it. I mean, there is literally a spot on the ice that has been now named like Ovi's office. Like, you don't, it's like in football where it's like, you get a free kick and like, oh, that's in David Beckham territory. That um,
Yeah,
it's like if you have as good of a shot to have a whole portion of the ice be like, yeah, that's his spot. Then yeah, and like you said, you don't become the leading NHL goal scorer of all time without having a phenomenal shot. And for me, I think it's the power in his shot, especially. He's just got an absolute rocket, especially off that. I'd be interested to know actually of his 800 plus goals or whatever number he's at now. How many have come off the one timer on that left dot? Um,
yeah.
because it's
Cross ice pass straight
yep,
onto the end of his stick,
yep.
straight into top bins.
I mean, it's been great. It's been great. Like I think like the last 5 years, like watching him on the power play. And they always say it's like like when your PlayStation controllers died, and he's basically just stood there on the dot. He's not moving. I mean, he's. I think it's fair to say he's maybe neglected the defensive aspects of his game for quite a while. But he's got the goals on the other end to back it up. So yeah, I've got absolutely no qualms with you taking Alex Ovechkin there. That is, yeah, that's a solid pick.
Solid pick.
Interestingly enough, was not the player actually who I had in mind as my other option for shot. Um,
Interesting.
yeah, I had
Who
I had,
is it?
Aus- I had Austin Matthews in my thought for the other shot. I just think 69 goal scorer. Giggity! Don't you dare touch that fucking button. Uh, the guy's shot is absolutely unbelievable. Um, and yeah, he was again. I was thinking more. I suppose from like a technical standpoint as opposed to like raw power. But yeah. Anyway, we are on to the next category, which is passing. So passing, playmaking, however you want to call it. And you have the next pick.
Next pick, and this is one where I was looking at Quinn Hughes, just purely because he's a point per game player, but he doesn't score that many goals. He's extremely creative, but he's gone. He went first overall in this draft.
He
A
certainly
Minnesota
did.
player, first overall. Bosh. Um, but passing for me, you can't have Conor McDavid, not have Leon Draisaitl on the same team.
Fair.
Just think he's always up there in points, quite often time playing on the second line, and his points totals are always fairly equal. He's just obviously when you just watch him, he's a great passer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he's an elite playmaker. I think that goes without saying, and you know, how, the fact you've got both of them on this team is I love that. But yeah, I like his passing. I love his all round game. To be fair, and I think, and again, I think this might be a slightly bold take, but I think when all is said and done, I think that Leon Draisaitl will probably go down as one of the most kind of like underappreciated players, because I mean, if he was on any other team, barring like Colorado, maybe he would be he would be the guy. He would be the captain. He would be, the franchise player. And it's almost like, I don't want to say he's been in McDavid's shadow because I think they are kind of like running mates, but he is such a phenomenal player. Like I said, he'd be any team's number one guy, and yet he's kind of been relegated to a number two spot for his entire career, more or less.
Yeah, he's the Batman. Well, he's Robin to Batman, isn't he? He's a Song and Yu Ming to Harry Kane.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
he's the X to Conor McDavid's Y. Like, take your pick of analogies. He's right there, but
yeah,
yeah, the big German. Right, that takes me into passing. Quite a straightforward option for me, really. I'm going to take Nikita Kucherov. 100 assists in an NHL season. An unbelievable playmaker. Just, I think one of the best I've seen. Just absolutely unbelievable. I just think that he is just his ability to. It's almost like he can see. It's like he's got X-ray vision. Like he can see through players and make passes to areas that he can't even see, but he knows that someone's going to be there. Now he's played with some absolutely sensational players over his career. He's played with Steven Stamkos. He's played with Braden Point and Jake Gensel and Victor Hedman and all these absolutely amazing players. Brandon Hagel even as well. And how lucky for all of those guys to be on the same team as someone who can just, it doesn't matter where they are, it doesn't matter who's in the way. For me, I think you've always got a good shot that Kucherov's going to find them. So
yeah,
yeah, that was quite a straightforward one for me. Unless you've
yeah.
got
I was
any,
hoping he'd drop further down
yeah, yeah, no,
for the
not
exact
not
same reasons you explained.
not on this occasion, unfortunately. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And that takes us into quite an interesting topic next. So the next topic is or category is checking slash sort of defensive play. Now this is difficult because for me, a lot of the really, really high profile defensemen in the league are high profile for their offensive abilities. And I know we've had this discussion on the podcast before that for me, I think the Norris Trophy is a little bit. I'm not saying it's redundant, but I think it's given to the best defenseman. But I think the sort of caveat with it is it's like the best offensive defenseman, more or less. So in terms of the checking and defensive aspect, he's someone who we talk about regularly, and for me, I think he's the best defenseman in the league, not named Cale Makar or Quinn Hughes. And in terms of his checking and defensive game, I'm going to take Zach Werenski.
Good call.
Yeah,
I
I
think you've been a
think.
bit too hipster with that pick.
You think?
Yeah, I love the player, and I think for the reasons you've said, I understand why you've done it. It's not confusing me because of the selection, but I just think maybe you're overthinking it just a little bit because checking defense. Yeah, I'm going Kale McCarr.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
He's if you just look at, and I'm just going to go off of this season because this is the year we've been sort of covering a lot more in depth. But the Colorado team are a great all-round team, including defensively. Like they're not conceding. Like for example, the Edmonton Oilers. You look at Evan Bouchard, who's an offensive machine but can't defend for toffee. Like you got McDavid, who's on 115 points on the year, but is only on a plus 10, plus
Hmm.
minus. And it's not all about plus minuses and things like that. But you look at Colorado, and all their players, including McCarr, are huge pluses.
Um, yeah, I agree with that, and maybe I have overthought it a little bit. And to be honest, for us to get 5 categories in, and for Cale McCarr not to have been involved as of yet, I think is kind of wild. Um, my only thought with that is, and I agree with you for what it's worth. I do agree with you in relation to to plus minus, but I think that Colorado team is so good, and they are top to bottom so impressive that I think their puck possession is just kind of unreal. So it's the only kind of reason why I went for Werenski over Makar is, for me, from what I've seen, I've got a bit more of a sample size of Werenski having to display the defensive characteristics of the game because he has to do it more, because Columbus's team isn't as good as Colorado's team. So I think, Makar is obviously a sensational defenseman. He's a Norris Trophy winner. Will probably be up there again this year. But for me, when I was thinking purely about the checking and defensive aspects, I think that Werenski was kind of the pick for me. Interestingly enough, if I had taken Makar as my defensive option, would Werenski have been your pick, or would you have gone somewhere else?
He was definitely in with the conversation for me, and I
Okay.
was second guessing myself a little bit. The other player, and I can answer this question because I'm not going to pick him for hockey IQ now, which is where I was going to go if you picked this player before, but it was Alex Barkov going
Love
for
that.
a forward,
That's
checking defensive play.
that is a great shout. Yeah, Selk. I didn't. To be fair, I didn't even really consider the forward aspect. But yeah, he is. I mean, he is a Selkie. He's going to be a Selkie Trophy god. Um, Especially now, like, thank God that Patrice Bergeron's out the league. Because I mean, they're probably going to end up renaming that trophy at some point in the future. But yeah, no, that's a great shout. That's a great shout. But for me, the team was looking a little heavy offensively, so maybe I had to get another defenseman in there.
Yeah, and that was the thing. That's why I was starting to think Werenski is because when we're making the perfect hockey player, we should have a defender in there somewhere.
Yeah,
But yeah, Barkov was going to be a potential choice. And when we move on to hockey IQ, I mean, you might still pick him for hockey IQ, but he's on the table. I have to pick him, Sidney Crosby.
that's fair. Yep,
He's been
yep.
there, done it all. He just knows the game inside and out. Like, I don't think there's much I need to back up with that, really.
No, no. I mean, again, Sidney Crosby is someone who, especially if you were to look at the totality of his entire career, I think that he's someone who you could absolutely pick for multiple categories here. But yeah, I think hockey IQ is a good. But again, that's someone who you could have had. You could have had Kucherov, maybe you could have had McDavid. Potentially again, even someone like Patrick Kane in a past in a past life. I think again his hockey IQ especially is absolutely outstanding. But yeah, that's a really good pick. I mean, I think we would be remiss if Sidney Crosby wasn't in this in this list at all. But yeah, that's a solid pick. Um, right, hockey IQ. And a lot of my picks for this category have kind of gone off the board. So this becomes a little bit trickier now. Um, I am going to take. Now, I'm going to make this pick based on, again, the totality of his career as opposed to necessarily the player they are now. But for my hockey IQ, I am going to take Steven Stamkos. Um, Again, someone who knows the game inside and out, has been there, done it. He's won the cups. He's had an absolutely distinguished career. He was one of the only players who I think was granted, I think in juniors when he played in the OHL for the Sarnia Sting, I want to say, he was granted like OHL exceptional status and was able to go and play there when he was like 15. Um, yeah, he's just an absolute freak.
He's
And
the Landon DuPont of the olden times.
yeah, but yeah, so I think he wouldn't necessarily have been my first pick. However, I think with the players that we've got available, and again looking at the all around encompassed career of him, I'm going to take
Yeah.
Steven Stamkos there, which takes us next into mentality. Now, my pick for mentality for me was crystal clear from the jump, and I knew this player would be available because I don't think he would have made it into any other categories until then. But for my mentality, I'm taking Jonathan Taves. I just think
Okay.
now the reason for this is numerous. Okay, so I mean, became one of the youngest Blackhawks captains ever, or maybe the youngest Blackhawks captain ever. Led them to 3 Stanley Cups, not by being the rah-rah captain on the ice and doing all the shouting and all the pointing and, but just out there by leading by example, being the absolute pinnacle of professionalism. I know he maybe picked up a bit of a knack for being a bit dull over his career, obviously the whole kind of Captain Serious thing. But I just think his mentality to take that team to 3 Stanley Cups in 5 years is absolutely unbelievable. Secondly, this is a guy who everyone said was done in the NHL. Obviously, he had like a quite a horrific like autoimmune disease that obviously he still carries now. And he took 2 years out of the game, went and found himself in whichever, like, I can't remember which, I think he went to like India and was trying all
He
sorts
had a
of like,
gap year.
yeah, he did. He had an
He had
extended
2
gap
gap
year
years.
traveling whilst he went and went and found himself. But I think just the ability to come back after everything that he's faced and still, like, he's still put up, I mean, he's been playing 4th line minutes in Winnipeg this year on a bit of a down year. But I think the fact that he was able to come back, and I've listened to so many interviews with so many different, both Blackhawks and non-Blackhawks. When they've spoken to the likes of like Duncan Keith and Mark Scheifele and people like that, who, this year when they've asked about Taves coming back, and they were saying, you know what, if anyone was going to be able to do it, it'd have been him. So for me, that was my crystal clear mentality pick from the jump. But yeah, that's me going up to bat for a legendary Blackhawk. But I also think as well, just a legendary human being.
Yeah. And you went a pure route with this. And I've probably gone the extreme opposite. Because I'm going for a Kachuk.
Which one?
Does it matter? We'll go Matthew,
Yeah.
because I just imagine a player with Connor McDavid skating, Patrick Kane's hands, Alex Ovechkin's shot, Leon Draisaitl's passing, Kel McCarr's defensive checking capabilities, the IQ of Sidney Crosby, but it's as much of but with the mentality of a shithouse, who will just fucking wind people up, but can back it up. And as we'll go on to the next few subjects as well, I think I didn't want this player to be boring and just great at everything. Like, and that's where I come down to it because Matthew Kachuk has got some skills. Let's put
Undeniably.
that out there. But he's also got the mentality of a little flea shithouse. Um, and I think it would just be comedy. I think it'd be great. So
Yeah.
I love your nice guy pick. The perfect professional, consummate professional. Boring. Next.
Yeah, I do like that pick, to be fair, because I mean you could look at mentality in a bunch of different ways, and he has that kind of gritty rat-like personality that gets under people's skin, but he's also, like you said, he's got the ability to to back it up. So yeah, obviously it's that kind of mentality that I think dragged Florida to two cups. Obviously, he was a massive part of both of those teams. I mean, to be fair, you could have taken quite a few players, I think, on that Florida team. I think you maybe could have taken someone like Sam Bennett. You maybe could have taken someone like Brad Marchand. Um, that yeah,
He
that
was
would have
considered.
yeah. I think that's a good selection. And you get the next pick. Now, this is the penalty box perspective. We could not have the penalty box perspective without having the category of dropping the gloves. So if you were building yourself the perfect NHL player, Nathaniel, from all the players in the league, and this guy has to drop the gloves, whose fists are you taking?
Considered Matt Rempe here. Just for just to see your eyes roll.
Yeah.
Um, and there we go, hands on the forehead. There we go. But I'm not.
He's very good at dropping the gloves. He's just, as soon as he does, for someone who's 6'9", he tends to get the shit beaten out of him an awful lot. He's very good at dropping them, but he just doesn't seem very good at actually doing anything with them
Throwing
afterwards.
hands. Yeah. I don't know whether Ryan Reeves is still playing there, but I'm going to go Nikita Zadorov.
Fair. Yeah. I mean, he leads the penalty box perspective award this season for penalty minutes. You don't rack up the,
Yeah,
what is he, 134 or something penalty minutes on the season.
something like it's ridiculous.
He
But
is,
he can back it up as well.
yeah, he is. When he played on Chicago, he was entertaining. He was someone who was going to, absolutely pummel someone. And yeah, if he drops his gloves, it's a bad time for the other party. I think they're in a little bit of trouble. So yeah, I've
Marcus
got
feeling a shout out as well.
yeah, yeah. Oh man, that was an opportunity for us to have taken both Felinos across both of our teams. Ryan Reeves is still playing now. I considered Ryan
Mm.
Reeves for this. The visorless monster that is Ryan Reeves, but I think maybe more recently he's another one who seems to have been getting kind of laid out a few times. I'm gonna pick a guy for this category who is the definition for me of like describing someone as double hard. Like he is just an absolute weapon. Don't you dare! I see that hand reaching. Don't you dare!
Giggity, 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 goo.
For fuck's sake! I can always just see that arm like sliding forward. I'm like, oh god, he's going for the soundboard. I'm gonna take Arber Xhekaj
Yeah,
from the Montreal Canadiens. I think he again is someone who is just an absolute monster. Um, can lay the body when he's not the most, is not the most skilled player in the league by any stretch of the imagination, but I think he can still play. But I think when he drops the gloves, he is absolutely phenomenal. Um, so yeah, Arber Xhekaj for me, who again I think is he third in the league in penalty minutes at the moment? I think it's Kastelich. I want to say it's second, and then Xhaka might have even been tied with someone um,
Yeah.
as it stands, but he's someone who's been up there all year in the penalty minutes. But he is, yeah. I figured this would give us a bit of an opportunity to, or these last two categories would give us a bit of an opportunity to, to give a shout out to some of the sort of unsung heroes who I think. So not necessarily the absolutely kind of ultimate players up and down the league. And the final category is just a bit of fun, really. The ninth category is just the vibes. Um, who is the kind of ultimate vibesman, good time guy? I am. I mean, my team allegiance is definitely showing strong. I think within these picks. But my vibesman is Frank Nazar. I think he is so good at talking to the media. I think he is the absolute antithesis of this new wave of players that's coming into the league, and we seem to be phasing out of the hockey players being a little bit robotic and a little bit kind of dry and not not being that interesting to listen to, for lack of a better kind of term of phrasing. And I think that is one of the things, when you kind of look at it on a broader spectrum, I think that is one of the things that correlates to the increase in popularity of hockey as a whole. I think hockey popularity is probably in a better place than it's been probably in the last decade. And I think a lot of that is down to, obviously, we now live in an age of social media clips, reels, TikToks, that sort of thing. Go follow us at Penalty Box Perspective on TikTok. But we're now getting a lot more of these young players into the league who have a bit of personality, who have a little bit of, like attitude and swagger to him, and I think that Frank Nazar absolutely kind of encapsulates that. 6'7" aside, I just think he's if he's being spoken to, he's always worth a listen. I think he also speaks kind of really maturely for a player his age, but he's also kind of very fun, to have around. So that is my pick for the vibesman. I'm taking Frank Nazar.
Yeah. I can't argue with that. I haven't listened to much of his interviews and things like that, but I know he's the old school, even looks like an old school, like American gangster
Yeah,
kind of vibes.
yeah. He's a
Very
good-looking
cool,
chap.
calm,
Good-looking chap
collected.
as well. Good. I mean, if
Yeah.
this was the ultimate hockey player, but they also had the face of Frank Nazar, like this guy would be what an absolute stud.
Yeah, he's not just a NHL game stock default
No,
person
no,
profile.
no, he's not just on like the random generated head 26. No, he's got the looks.
Yeah.
So with our
Can't believe
final pick, Nathaniel, of our perfect hockey player, who is your
I'm looking
vibesman?
at this list. I'm looking at this list, and Nathan McKinnon isn't on it. And I wish now I could swap him out for someone, but I'm not gonna. Like, he can't go for vibes. McKinnon has not got vibes. He does not fit.
I've just realised that Nathan McKinnon isn't on here, and I can't believe that I've passed over Nathan McKinnon on my hockey IQ. What an absolute fumble, Matt! Jesus Christ.
That's what
Um,
I was thinking, mate. To be fair, like, I was like,
yeah,
okay, you were so deep in Stamkos. I was just like, okay,
yeah, bit of a fumble from me there, but yeah. But I would agree with you. McKinnon is not vibes. He is absolutely the hockey robots that we know and love.
talking about. When I think hockey vibes, I think obviously like media personalities. So you
Mm-hmm.
could have gone Kachuk here. You could go for someone, I guess, like Willie Nylander with the
Yep.
fashion and the flipping the bird at the camera,
Yep.
that kind of thing. But I can't get past Philip Forsberg's mustache.
Yeah, love that. Yeah,
He
that's
is that. It's not Philip Forsberg. Philip Forsberg's Tash.
just that
I need to make
alone.
that perfectly. Just that alone.
He has also worn some absolutely like outrageous suits over the years. That is yeah, that's a good pick. I mean, I had to obviously stay true to the Blackhawks. I mean, there's a few options really. I contemplated Jack Hughes, just with the
He is not the vibe. He fucking went out for a meal and got injured for 3 months
that's
or
that
whatever long.
is that is like that's rock star shit though.
It's fucking
But I
not.
think he's I think
It's
he's
the
got
opposite.
he's got the broken
You,
teeth, he's got the pop star girlfriend, he's got the the OT winner in the Olympic the Olympic Games. Um, yeah, he was an option. I think Trevor Zegras was another option. I think that
yeah,
he's also a bit of a good time boy. Um, and that was kind of yeah. I think my pick was always going to be like under the age of 25, because I think that's
mm,
kind of the cutoff between like hockey players being interesting or not. Basically,
disagree.
all the ones born after
Hard disagree.
2000.
Hard disagree. Right. I was going to break the rules that you'd set with this and say current NHL player because this player still trains with the Minnesota Wild. He's not on the active roster, so I can't say he's a current NHL player. But Marc-Andre Fleury is the vibe.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and he is 40, whatever, I can't remember how old he is.
He's an
But
exception to the rule.
he was
Yeah,
slam dunk pick
yeah.
for
I
vibes.
mean, vibes are a question of perspective. I mean, like on one hand, you could have had you could have quite easily had Alex Ovechkin in the vibes category here for sure. Um, just absolutely chugging beers. Um, playing charity football matches in Russia in the off season and like just absolutely. Have you ever seen that clip of Alex Ovechkin play? It's like the Russian equivalent of like Soccer Aid, and he's playing like left back or something, and he just absolutely bullies the guy off the ball. And I mean, from the footballing equivalent of Ovi's office, from the left corner of the box on his right peg, just absolutely drills it into the bottom corner. Yeah, absolute baller. But yeah, he could have been an option. But I think certainly looking at some of the names on this list, Sidney Crosby, Jonathan Taves, Connor McDavid, Connor Bedard. I mean, I love Connor Bedard, but he is not the world's most interesting person. He is like hockey all day, every day, has not kind
He's
of
the
much.
anti-vibe. He's like, you
He,
bedarded.
yeah, yeah. Potentially someone like Will Smith could have been an option, maybe. But yeah, I think you could have Matthew Kachuk could have been an option in here. Willie Nylander for sure. Again, could have been an option. Willie Nylander is like he is another one who is like rock star vibes.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I think so. We'll run it down each one before we wrap up. So my ultimate NHL player has the skating of Quinn Hughes, the hands of Macklin Celebrini, the shot of Connor Bedard, the passing of Nikita Kucherov, with the defensive and checking abilities of Zach Werenski. He has the hockey IQ of Steven Stamkos, with the mentality of Jonathan Taves. He's dropping the gloves in the style of Arber Xhekaj, and he also has the vibes of Frank Nazar. Nathaniel, give us your ultimate NHL player.
So he's as fast and skillful on the ice as Connor McDavid, the hands of Patrick Kane, or Nathan McKinnon, the shot of Alex Ovechkin, the passing of Leon Draisaitl, the check-in/defensive capabilities of Cale Makar, hockey IQ of Sidney Crosby, the shithousery of Matthew Kachuk, can drop the gloves like Nikita Zadorov, and all the while displaying a beautiful Philip Forsberg tash.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Beautiful.
I think there are aspects to this, as we do whenever we have some sort of snake draft. There are always aspects to it that I think I have a habit of overthinking. There's definitely some glaring omissions from this list. Nathan McKinnon, Austin Matthews, potentially on Kaprizov. On the defensive aspect, maybe someone like Miro Heiskanen. No Mikko Rantanen on the list. I decided not to add any goaltending sort of categories because that would have made everything a little bit kind of odd. And it basically would have just been a fight for like Connor Hellebuck. But I think those guys going head to head, it'd be like Hollander and Rosanov. That is going to be completely lost on you. But the rest of Hockey Talk will know exactly what I'm talking about there.
Is that a heated rivalry?
That is a heated rivalry reference, yeah. Which, as soon as we finish recording here, get on it. It's one of the best shows you will ever see. Right, is there anything further from yourself, or shall we tie a bow on this one and wrap it up?
No, I think that's a very good episode complete.
Good stuff. Right. Are you going to hit me with the drum roll this time, or are you going to cook me like you did last time? Right, guys. As always, you can find us on X and Instagram at the PBP Podcast. You can also find us on TikTok at Penalty Box Perspective. You can watch the podcast in video format on both Spotify and YouTube. If you do go over to YouTube, please consider liking and subscribing over there. And if you can as well, give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. Really helps, again, push the podcast into more people's ears and also more people's eyes. You can also find us on penaltyboxperspective@gmail.com if you want to get in touch with us via email at all. If you've got any questions, queries, or anything you want covered on the show, we'll always give shout outs where needed. These are a good bit of fun, these shorter episodes. So we've got plenty more in the pipeline. Working on some guests at the moment as we speak. So I'll be looking forward to getting some additional people back in the show. And as always, guys, thank you very much for being with us. Take care, and we'll see you on the next one.